is a significant concern, with the National Bureau of Statistics, that's the NBS, shedding light on the issue. According to a recent survey conducted by the NBS in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Nigerian judges are amongst the biggest recipients of bribes in the country. This report, titled Corruption in Nigeria, Patterns and Trends, reveals that public officials in Nigeria received a staggering 721 billion naira in cash bribes in 2023. Unfortunately, judges topped the list of the recipients, highlighting the pervasive nature of corruption in that sector. Well, joining me on the program at this time to discuss this is Debo Adeniro. Is the Executive Director, Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership. I also have Anwar Musa Raspanjani. Anwar Musa Raspanjani is the Executive Director for the Center for Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. Of course, both gentlemen joins me virtually. Thank you for your time, sir.
Good evening, Dapo.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's great to have you on the program. Let me start off with you, Mr. Debo. What do you make of this report by the NBS?
It is not surprising, because for so long we have seen a kind of perversion and denial of people of the deserved judgment. I mean, justice in various courts, and the accusation is not today. It has always been there. It was only when the former Chief Justice of Federation, maybe the first female, Aloma Mukhtar, came to office that she started the process of sanitizing the judiciary, but she was not allowed to complete that assignment before she left. Several judges have been indicted in the past, and several judges are supposed to be on trial even by now. And you also know that majority of the Attorney General of Nigerian Federation have been accused of colluding with some of the public officials that have been accused of corruption, of one corruption or the other, in perversion of justice. All of these have summed up to lead to the public perception that they don't even want to go to court, that they don't need to go to court, because the court had turned out to be a marketplace for justice. I mean, the judicial officers that operates Nigeria Judiciary seems to be businessmen and women who will only pander to the dictates of the highest bidder, and this has been embarrassing. And in fact, several businesses have folded up because they have lost, confidence in our judicial system. I'm talking about bribery as espoused by the NBS report. Several judges have been accused, directly or indirectly, of collecting bribes from litigants. And you also know that there was a time when men of DSS had to bust some judges' houses, and a number of cash and other valuables were found in those houses.
Okay.
And somehow the cases, the cases just died natural death. You remember the case of Awukuleyin, who was the trial judge in the case of the former governor of Delta State, James Ibori. He actually dismissed 170 count charge, 10 or so of which Ibori pleaded guilty to in the United Kingdom, and they still use the same evidence, pieces of evidence.
Mr. Debo, let me come in here. Yeah. Let me come in here just quickly. I mean, one would also look at it and say that a lot of issues too, go on the way. You talked about the influence of politicians and all. Let me leave you for a moment and bring in, Anwar into the conversation here. Looking at, I don't know if you can hear me, Anwar. To bring it to specifics, we know that recently this current administration.
I can hear you very well. I can hear you.
Okay, great. This current administration, particularly within the FCT, decided to do a couple of, what I call it, remuneration review for the judges. Now, we know that for the judiciary, there was a general review in terms of their pay and all of that. And then some of them were even given, choice houses and landed properties in the FCT. And for many Nigerians, or some Nigerians, they would argue and say, you know what, you need to ensure that these judges are comfortable so that they will be incorruptible. While some will argue differently and say, no, it's a way of subtly, bringing them towards the side of the government so that at the end of the day, they pander to the whims and caprice of, the government of the day. What do you make of moves like this?
Thank you very much. We are facing a very serious deterioration of judicial integrity and independence in Nigeria. A situation whereby some politician will carefully select those who they will want to appoint to go to various courts. For example, you cannot just get appointed on the basis of merit to electoral tribunal, and many other places where they consider there will be a kind of kickback. Unfortunately, many Nigerians are losing confidence, and once Nigerians lose confidence on the judiciary to be able to do justice to them, then you are encouraging not only anarchy but completely disapproval of our judicial system in the country, because politicians will tell you we'll meet in the court because they have already decided, they've already procured the judgment that will come in their favor. This is really bad and it's not good for our country. Secondly, judges will sit down and give a perpetual injunction against EFCC, ICPC that a corrupt person must not be even invited, must not be arrested, even his close associate and his family must not be invited or investigated. This is the kind of judges that we have now, which have actually undermined and destroyed judiciary in Nigeria. Therefore, there's every responsibility from the authority that matters to rise up to ensure that they do cleansing, internal cleansing in the judiciary, because some of these judges are bringing bad example, bad record, to the institution of judiciary and making the judiciary to be for sale. Because if a politician will beat his chest and tell you that, let's meet in court because he or she has done, terrible thing there, then that's really bad. Secondly, if a corrupt judge will give a perpetual injunction against anti-corruption agencies not to even invite, not to investigate anybody, I think such kind of person must not be, as a judge.
Okay.
He or she should be, shown the way out, because they are actually destroying the whole foundation of justice in the country. And I think, corrupting the judges by what Wike is doing now is really terrible, because judiciary has independent budget. It has a budget as a independent body in the country. They have their own money. Whatever they want to do, they could do. For the executive to now be selecting some judges and give them choice areas and houses as well as other favors in terms of material thing, it is rather just you are just actually corrupting those judges and making them to do whatever judgment they want to do. Now, as I speak to you, NGC is having a meeting, and one of the speakers is okay. For goodness sake, somebody who has a case in Rivers that is ongoing, somebody who has been accused of, bribing judges, why should you even invite him to be a guest speaker in such important forum? So I think judiciary must rise up to clean itself from this kind of allegation or accusation or lack of confidence that Nigerians are having against them.
Okay.
Secondly, access to justice in Nigeria is been extremely difficult and if not impossible for ordinary person.
Okay. I mean, you said quite a couple of things, but I would like to bring Debo in to speak on this, particularly within the context of the role of the judiciary in the case of Dele Farotimi versus Afe Babalola that is ongoing, and the Ayabelo case. I mean, these are two cases that the judiciary is playing a pivotal role in. I would like you to speak, with the role of the judiciary within this context.
Thank you very much. The Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, CACOL, has put up a statement that the police needed don't need to arrest Dele Farotimi. It could be, usually defamation are supposed to be civil procedure, but they say it's criminal defamation. I don't know what lawyers mean by that. But then he had been arrested. Of course, he wasn't a fugitive. He was not declared wanted. There's no record and no evidence that he was invited by the police and he refused to heed that invitation or to honor that invitation. So they didn't have to arrest him. Then the Nigeria police, he just won in the whole of Nigeria. They didn't have to whisk him away to Ekiti State, even if the defamation was as criminal as they mentioned it. Then it wasn't a kind of capital offense. So there was no need for the police to have handcuff him, you know, in order to take to prison vehicles and all of that. That is a dramatization of impunity. But then we have said that. Then even if he committed that offense, I mean, why is it that the Lagos command of the Nigeria police couldn't take up the challenge? He didn't. I'm not sure that he committed that offense in Ekiti State. Just because the accuser lives in Ekiti State doesn't mean that the offense was committed in Ekiti State. And Dele Farotimi could have been questioned. I mean,
so before we go on a break, so far in handling this issue, has the judiciary been fair?
Well, we can't say, because we do not want to dictate to the judiciary, because we are talking about separation of powers and well, checks and balances. So it is in the opinion of the court that he should be given a 15 million naira bail, that he should submit his passport and all of those conditions. Those conditions in the face of it are too difficult. They are too heavy for the kind of offense that he was. Talk about the case of Yaya Bello. It is still the same judiciary that is playing the same games. Judiciary had granted Yaya Bello a kind of injunction even before the EFCC charged him, and the EFCC had appealed the injunctions. It was to come up on 20th of May, I mean, or was it April? And by 17th, the EFCC had bombarded his house. When the judiciary didn't have to grant a kind of injunction, just like it has been mentioned, that granting frivolous injunction is a death knell for the judiciary itself. Remember that Peter Odili still have perpetual injunction, you know, that he's still enjoying against investigation and arrest. So basically that's what led to something. And when that he had been returned to prison, and his bail application was not granted.
Okay, Mr. Deva, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
On the ground.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we need to go on a quick break.
No problem.
We need to go on a quick break. I would be coming to you right now with my question. The same question I asked Debo, and that is the role of the judiciary, particularly with the case of Dele Farotimi and Yaya Bello. Has the court or the judiciary been fair so far?
So, to be honest to you, Nigerians in the first place have been wondering why this injustice of, in the first place, arresting this very gentleman in the manner that he was arrested and bundled like a criminal. And this is what is ridiculing the country every now and then. The international community is watching our, criminal justice system. The international community is watching very well how some individuals are abusing their offices, because what has happened to this comrade is simply some people who believe that they have power, they have to misuse the power to violently and brutally violate the right of Nigerians. And I don't think it's good, for the image of the country. And even those who perpetrated this action, their reputation has already gone down. And therefore, there's no gain in perpetrating injustice and making someone to look as if he had committed any criminal offense. Even if somebody had committed an offense, there's a procedure, there's a process that you could actually seek for redress on whatever you think you have been wrong against. But to use the state machinery to perpetrate this, I think tomorrow people will answer this impunity. No matter how long it will take, there will be a time when people will have to answer this impunity, and the people that perpetrated this definitely will go in a very bad record as people who are aiding impunity and people who are aiding brutal violation of the rights of Nigerians. So if the court, in its own fairness, they think that in this country where somebody is not a looter, where will he get the kind of money for bail? I think some of these judges, they need to know that not every Nigerian is a thief, is a corrupt person.
So that brings me to this specific question.
This kind of amount of money for a bail, it means that you have assumed that everyone is looter. This guy does not have this money, and you have made it impossible for him to do that. It's like giving with one hand and taking with one hand. For goodness sake, it's just like the judge that give bail to the children that were in the first place illegally, unfairly, inhumanly arrested, and he was asking them to pay huge amount of millions, which even their parents could not even raise transport fare, come to Abuja, but he was asking for millions of naira for each person, for each child to be bailed. Something is wrong in the psyche of some of these judges. We need to stop this kind of madness that is going on in Nigeria. This is not administrative justice system. What we are saying is just gang of people who just want to continue to ridicule the country.
All right, thank you so much. Just before we go, because we are really pressed for time, Debo Adenro, 30 seconds. I would just like to take your final thoughts on this. 30 seconds, please.
Well, I believe that the judiciary has smeared its own image, and it is only the judiciary that can launder it anyway. And of course, there are so many complaints against the judiciary that the NJC has not been helping matters, because the petitions before them are usually not treated with urgency that they desire. Then most of their men and women that have committed various serious offenses against the Nigerian people, against the Nigeria as a nation, have not been adequately brought to book. Granted that a few of them have actually been disciplined. Michael Adwaka, Justice Awubulenye, and a few others have been disciplined in a way. But then those who deserve to be disciplined are still much more than what we have seen. So they have to cleanse themselves. They have to kind of launder their own image. Even the law officers, the lawyers, also need disciplinary action being taken against them when they aid criminals to escape justice. That will be a way to have a kind of a partial judiciary that we deserve.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Did you listen to that? The truth is gradually coming out. The truth is gradually coming out. That is NBS, National Bureau of Statistics, says the judges alleged received 21 billion over for that 2023 election. This one is deep. The truth is gradually coming out. You see, this brings us to Dele Farotimi's book. He did not lie. He has been vindicated many times. These are the evidences. These are the truth. These are what he wrote in his book. The judges are corrupt. Some of them. This one is not me. This one is National Bureau of Statistics now. Home and abroad now. This is their report. That the judges, Nigerian judges, are the most corrupt. Or Nigeria, all the money they spent, bribe in that 2023, judges received the biggest judges. Nice one. And now Tinubu is already campaigning 2027. So now I'm telling you now, this money they spent, all the money put together they spent running election in 2023 is going to be ×2, because this election is not going to be easy. It's going to be bloody. Can you imagine? The truth is gradually coming out. Nothing lasts forever. Now Tinubu promised to reward all the senators that he is going to re-elect them 2027. Power belongs to him. Power there in hand. What he says he will do is what he will do. He says he will give Edo State to APC. He did it. Their target is Rivers State anytime they are doing election in Rivers. Can you imagine? It's funny. No, it's not funny. 21 billion. The truth is gradually coming out. Before that election, you are going to hear more. I said it that time. I said we are going to hear more. Now the truth is coming out, because this time nothing you can do again. The truth will just be coming out. Those people who knew about it, where they do all those transactions, now people they are aware. People are aware. It's just that nobody wants to speak the truth. When you speak the truth, you are the enemies of this country. If you are a truthful person in this country, you speak the truth to power. You dare not. You go to Sanko. Just imagine. If at the same judges is what they are rewarding now. What Wiki and Tinubu is rewarding, building houses for them in compensation of what they did, job well done in 2023. They are compensating them. Judges, this same time they increase the salary of the judges. They are still building houses for them in reward. What does that mean? It means a lot. Yes. And now the judges have newly been appointed. Brothers, sisters of these politicians, wives of them have been appointed. So what do you expect? That is to say, Tinubu now already showed interest in contesting in 2027. That is to say, the result has been written. Anyways, I just want you to see. So you listen. What is your opinion? Just share this video. Leave your comment. We see where we are going this far. Leave your comment and share this video. Follow this page for more.